everyone to Make It Make Sense with Monique Pressley. I'm your host, Monique Pressley. Thanks for being here and joining us today. It is Friday. I like to call it Freedom Friday, but it's also the day that I do week in review for what we covered this week on the show, and also topics that are in the news that matter, that we did not have a chance to cover because we were covering other things. So I do have a couple of those. But first, I want to let you know, if you missed the entire week, man, for real, you missed it. You missed it. But it's all there. I have placed almost all of the shows in my feed and on my Facebook page at facebook.com/I am Monique Pressley. And Monday, we started the week off really with a bang. We did Monday Motivation with the Bishop William Murphy III, the award-winning recording artist and preacher, teacher extraordinaire. His music, as I said to him on Monday, really is like the score for my life. And has brought me through some time. So he knows about the kind of connection that will keep you motivated and keep you inspired. And we also had a great conversation just about the role of spiritual leaders and church leaders in this fight for justice, and how we can't afford to sit on the sidelines. None of us can afford to sit on the sidelines. So that was a great conversation. That was Monday. I invite you to backtrack and get your inspiration. On Tuesday, I talked to renowned economist, Dr. Julianne Malveaux. She is a force of nature, and I'm sure you've heard of her maybe because she was former president of Bennett College. She's currently running a department in California, and she's often outspoken, testifying in Congress, testifying in hearings about the relationship between the economy and people of color and people who are impoverished, and the direct relationship in terms of how the rest of the world is doing, or the rest of the country, and why we in many areas are lagging behind. But anyway, she came to us and help to make the economy make sense. So we talked about these gas prices and will there be an end in sight? We talked about fluctuations in the stock market and what it means to those of us trying to rub our pennies together and figure out if our 401k is still gonna be there for us when we need it. We talked about supply chain shortage. We talked about inflation, all of the things that we just hear going on the news, pew, 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 and some of it, frankly, whoosh, right over my head. And so she broke it down in a way that we could understand it, and then gave some tips of the trade and some tools for how to get through this next season, because this war that Russia has started in Ukraine is affecting everyone everywhere. So go back and look at that and get that information about our economy, because certainly our dollars need to make sense, right? Then on Wednesday, it was just me. I taught for close to an hour, maybe a little over an hour. Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Do you have an advance directive? Do you have a limited power of attorney for health care? Durable power of attorney for health care? Do you know the difference between those things? You know the difference between an advance directive and a DNR, the difference between a DNR and a revocable trust? Well, there are four documents that every adult person needs in order to ensure that they are prepared for the unforeseen circumstance of being incapacitated, or of a sudden illness, or of being in an illness, and life-saving measures are required, medical decisions have to be made. And then for when we transition, because what is it they say? You can be sure of two things, death and taxes. Well, I'm pretty sure you can be sure of at least one of them. It seems like the rich folks find a way to not have the taxes part, but we're all going to transition at some point, and you want to be ready. You don't want to leave a burden on your family. You don't want to leave a mess. You don't want to leave confusion. You want to make sure that your wishes are well known, that your estate, whatever it is, great or small, which is what I said on my post for Wednesday's show. When you look at the post, you'll see in the caption, doesn't matter if you got millions of dollars, you got the shirt on your back, or something in between. You need these documents. You need this information, and I give you the information plus economical ways that you can get it done. So Wednesday's show, go, go, go. See Wednesday's show. It's in my feed. Then yesterday, man, we had just one of the best wide-ranging discussions. Terrell J. Starr, independent journalist Terrell J. Starr, was back with us to discuss matters in Ukraine. And he shared some of his personal story. He shared some thoughts about journalism and why independent journalism and Black media matters. He gave us really just a deeper dive and in-depth look at the human side of war, whether it is the journalists covering it who are humans, whether it's the Ukrainians who are there fighting for their homelands, even the Russians who are in there as soldiers and some of them clueless, thinking they're going on a training exercise. We talked about all those things. It was really just one of the best conversations, like up there in top interviews and discussions that I have had just in my life and career. So I hope that you will find it and enjoy it, because it was the best. And that is going to be on my YouTube channel. Well, it may be there now. I don't know, but it will be there shortly if it's not there now. So you've got to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/C/Monique Pressley TV. So if you look up Monique Pressley TV, you should be able to find it and find me. But it was worth listening to and worth sharing, and we're just thankful for his safety, for the great work that he is doing, and offering and continuing to offer him our prayers and our support, whatever way we can support. And there's information in the show. If you want to support financially, there are ways that you can do that, but he asked for prayer. So send him scriptures. And send him whatever. He said, from whatever your faith walk is. If you believe in a higher power, send something positive his direction. But he is Christian and asks for scripture. So please do send away, because you can never have too much of that. And that was our week. It was a great one, and we are making strides to bring more and more excellent presentation and information and expert guests and expert information, even from me and from others. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope when you go back and look, you will enjoy it even more. If you would like to support the work that we're doing, we want you to. In the link tree in my bio gives ways that you can support through Cash App. It's $MoPress, MoPress. You can support through business PayPal, Monique Pressley Enterprises LLC, and you can support through Patreon, through being a subscriber through Patreon. So all the links are there. When you go to the link tree, you can click and support this work, because we want to keep giving you more and more and more of it. And there is no gift too small or too grand. We'll take it all. And so that was the week. But while we were covering those things during the week, there were other things going on. Our Supreme Court nominee, the first Black woman to be nominated to the Supreme Court, she's already made history. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have already made history in this administration by nominating her. There hasn't even been one nominated, never mind one who was voted in, who passed the confirmation process. So this is important, and her name is Ketanji Brown Jackson. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. She is 51 years old. She currently sits on the DC Court of Appeals, which is a posh, upper echelon, high as you can go, besides the Supreme Court, really, in terms of the way the court is thought of. So she is already in a very, very powerful seat. And this is the next step in the line. She is supremely qualified, experienced, and cares about issues that concern our people. And we have not had that since Thurgood Marshall. It really is like she is a direct successor, starting her career at the Federal Public Defender Service, working through the Sentencing Commission. Along the way, she's worked in private sector, she's worked in public sector, and is now on the bench. And you can check her out and read and see for yourself. But this is a legacy nomination. This seat is what we were supposed to get a long time ago when somebody else, who I don't feel like talking about today, took the bench. But be looking it up and offer your support. She will rise. Hashtag she will rise. And also, please follow Win with Black Women. Win with Black Women. I want to make sure I'm quoting correctly the Twitter site. Oh, good. Glad I did this. So if you go to Win with BLK Women, it's Win with capital B, capital L, capital K Women, at Win with Black Women on Twitter. This is what it looks like. Can you guys see it? Please follow there, because then there are already tweets there that you can like and retweet and change and make your own, and know just when things are happening, hot off the press. There's video there, media to be shared, and information, so that we can support not just this nominee, not just our Vice President Kamala Harris, but women who are in all manner of elected office, who are serving in private sector, who are in tech world. We're just trying to win and support Black women in these endeavors, because Black women have always been supporting us in this country and beyond. So follow them, please, at Win with Black Women, and you can figure out other ways there that you can support this nomination and beyond from that Twitter page. All right. So, did you all see the Jussie Smollett sentencing yesterday? Did you guys see that? Any thoughts? By the way, if you have questions, you can use the question icon. I will try to take a few at the end, as I try to do on Fridays. But yesterday, in the trial, in what even the Cook County attorney was calling a kangaroo trial in kangaroo court, Jussie Smollett had already been convicted of lying to law enforcement and was awaiting sentencing. And the judge went through this long whole kind of like diatribe, soliloquy type thing with all these insults and etc. and so on, which I thought was all unnecessary. Like, give your sentence, be done with it. It was all clown show. It was all for justifying the millions of dollars that they spent on this hoax, and really was just unbecoming. Besides being a whole lot of other things, it was just unbecoming of the office. And then sentenced to 150 days in the Cook County Jail, 5 months in jail, 30 months on probation, and fines, some thousands of dollars of fines. And I saw so many people, like, as the judge was going off, I was seeing on Twitter and elsewhere, people were like, ooh, this judge is going in, and that's what he gets. He should have known better than the blah, 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 and listen to what she's saying, and she's giving him the business, and yeah. While, she's saying things like he's a laughing stock, he's a joke, as people are saying in there, from rags to riches, riches to rags, blah, 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 et cetera, and so on. And then this sentence that includes time absent his liberty, time incarcerated. And I have to tell you, the entire thing to me is nonsense. It is insulting. It is not justice in motion. It is not the justice system working. It is not appropriate sentencing for the crime of which he was convicted. It's none of those things. It was injustice, and it was a farce. And there are so many reasons why I believe when we see things like this, we should be concerned. And I got to tell you, and you guys know I might have a little bit of experience dealing with celebrities accused of crime. And it seems like even in our own community, there's a different standard, as though people who have means, who are affluent, who can afford representation, even in our own community, are not deserving of their constitutional rights. Like if they are deprived the rights to due process or to fair trial or to proof beyond a reasonable doubt or to prosecutors keeping their promises or to not being falsely searched, not having their property seized, not being falsely arrested, it's as if we're not as bothered when it happens to people who we think can afford it. Now, the reason why that to me is so absurd is because being Black in this country has no "I got money, get out of jail free" card. We know this. We know this. And don't come in here talking to me about OJ. Yes, he had some of the best lawyers money could buy, but what they did was defend the case. And what the prosecutors did was fail to prove the case. So it was the right outcome for the way that our justice system works. But I'm seeing people saying, I mean, y'all go on Twitter, just put the hashtag in, put Justice Smollett and sentencing, and you'll see he deserved it. I've seen people on here, he should have expected it. I've seen it. And maybe we're forgetting that the entire reason it was taken to trial in the first place is because they found a way to circumvent the decision making of the Cook County State's Attorney, Kim Foxx, whose singular decision it was supposed to be whether that case was tried or not, whether it was charged, whether it was tried. It wasn't up to the law enforcement folks who went out there and did press conferences before a decision was even made saying that he would be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. It wasn't up to the officers who decided on their own to turn looking for the people who allegedly committed this hate crime on Jussie Smollett. They turned it into a circus. They turned it into a manhunt. They decided to put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of resources in it as if in that instance it deserved something other than other crimes reported. Black girls and women come up missing in Chicago every single day. They don't get no around-the-clock posse search. They don't get ridiculous amounts of awards offered. They don't get around-the-clock investigative units out looking for them. And they're being snatched. They're being trafficked. They're being raped. They're being killed. They're being taken out of the country and put into slave labor. Our girls, our 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. Yes, I did say 12 to 18, still girls. And our women are in vulnerable positions and nobody gives a damn. I mean, we got to stand on our heads. I talked to the co-founder of Black and Missing. Go look up their stuff and watch the HBO show on it. And they're having to do investigations themselves. They're having to help families with supplies to put up notices about our girls going missing. Wouldn't they love if law enforcement was willing to do an all-out manhunt for perpetrators, for alleged perpetrators, and to find our children? So, that ain't on Jesse. I still don't know what all the facts are in this case. And we may never know what all the facts are in this case. I don't trust snitches. So the brothers, they're sketchy. They're sketchy. Their story is sketchy. I don't know what deal they got for the story. We're never going to know any of those things because Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx, I know her. I respect her. I respect the job she does. I was never meant to be a prosecutor. I would never want to be a prosecutor. But that doesn't mean that we don't need prosecutors who are progressive, who are of conscience, who care about doing their job, who are not afraid to prosecute cops, who are not afraid to let folks out of jail who have been falsely incarcerated. We are the most over-incarcerating capital of the world. So we need them doing those jobs, and they need our support. And in this instance, she decided that Jussie Smollett had already taken a likely career-ending hit to his reputation. He had already been fined $10,000 fine, and that the case should not go forward because the resources that it would take to prove up this hoax, to hold a trial, the taxpayer resources that it would take were not worth it. And she has an op-ed that is out today. Go look at it. It's in the Chicago Sun, I believe. Go look it up. It's on the Twitterverse. It's on the YouTube. She has an op-ed out today describing why yesterday was a farce, was a miscarriage of justice, was a kangaroo court, was something that was insisted upon. And they didn't just usurp her authority and find a way to manipulate the system and find fake justification for bringing in special prosecutors and hold this trial after the decision had been made by her office, which I hope his lawyers take it all the way to the Supremes, because that's been turning out okay in other cases recently. Just saying. I hope they do, because he was given the word of a prosecutor, and the word of a prosecutor is supposed to mean something, and you don't get to be in another branch and take it back and do other things. That should not happen. But that's what they did to her, to this progressive prosecutor who's been going after cops, who's been stopping charging for drug crimes when people need to be doing medical interventions because of addiction. She's been not prosecuting for marijuana possession. She's been having a task force to research and reinvestigate sketchy cases where it looks like the conviction was wrongful. That's who she is. And you know, they do not want that. They do not want that. As I said on Twitter, we watch the feds, we watch governors, we watch state attorney generals use as justification the broad discretion of the prosecutor when the prosecutor is deciding not to prosecute cops who are killing us. We can't interfere with the broad discretion of the prosecutor. It's part of the foundation of the way our country's judicial system is built. It's embedded in the Constitution of the United States. It shouldn't be disturbed. Oh, okay. So now what? But when it's a progressive prosecutor, when it's a black woman prosecutor, we can disturb. We can usurp. We can find end runs and we can find go-arounds. We can pull out all the stops. And that's what they did. They found a way to remove it from our hands. They found a way temporarily to try to disparage her reputation as a person and as a prosecutor, caused an internal investigation from which she exited found blameless. But they did all that in order to do this, to teach this one black boy a lesson. That's the way they're thinking. How dare you? How dare you? We're going to show you, and we're going to show the world what you can't do. That is exactly what that was. And no, I don't want to hear any of this. He was black. He should have expected it. He was asking for it with that ridiculous story. What did he think was going to happen? I don't know. He might have. Okay, first of all, like I said, I don't know the what and the who and the why. I don't know the real of this story. But if he did what he was ultimately convicted of doing, that sounds disturbed to me more than it sounds heinous. That sounds like somebody who's really in need of some help. And even if it wasn't, the Constitution of the United States is here to protect citizens when they break the law. The accused has rights. The convicted has rights. The suspect has rights. The incarcerated has rights. So even if you do mess up, even if you do commit a crime, we watch people who walk into churches and kill innocents after sharing service with them. We watch people bomb buildings and they still get appointed counsel, good counsel. They still get every one of their rights protected. And people clamor around to make sure it happens. I didn't see any clamoring around this case. Nor did I see it around the state's attorney, Kim Foxx. When are we going to learn that it ultimately affects us all? What they did, usurping her authority and ultimately criminally penalizing and incarcerating a man who may be ill, but a man who for sure is not a threat to anyone, perhaps other than himself, was wrongful. Wrongful. And it could be you. It could be your child. It could be your daughter, your son, your sister, your brother, your spouse. It could be any of us. So watching that happen to somebody, like that's some circus, some freak show happening over there, It is all of us. It is all of us, because if these rules are not applied evenly across the board, then the system isn't worth anything. It's not worth anything. And not just what happened to him, but the manner in which this black woman progressive prosecutor was treated. Listen, they're under attack. All across this country, they are targeted. The black women progressive prosecutors who we elected and put in office so they could do exactly what they're doing in there, forming task force, decreasing the level of incarceration, not charging things that don't need to be charged but need to be treated, not charging things that are low-level offenses, that are nonviolent offenses, because putting somebody in jail and paying thousands of dollars a week to incarcerate them is not the best use of resources. It's not the best use of tax dollars. And it is not what it's supposed to be. It is punitive. It is punishing, but it is not reforming. It is not rehabilitating. Jussie is not going to come out of 150 days in lockup rehabilitated. He's not going to come out healthier through that process. I pray that he does, just through some miracle. But that's not what that system is designed to do. That is not the best use of our time or of humans as resources. So, no, we have to protect our black women. We have to protect our progressive prosecutors. And that's one of the reasons every time, and I've been at odds with people who are in the activism world and others who are in the civil rights lawyering world, same as I am, who the minute something happens, they call for a special prosecutor. And whether the prosecutor has been elected or appointed, whether the prosecutor is progressive or conservative, whether the prosecutor has a record or not, they're like, no, the prosecutor has a symbiotic relationship with the police department and it's unfair, it's unethical, it's biased. No, I say instead, we need prosecutors in those positions who are going to do their jobs. So we have to elect prosecutors who understand the assignment, who are going to work on our behalf, yes, to keep our communities safe by enforcing the laws, but also to keep our communities safe by enforcing the laws against those who are failing their oaths and forsaking their badge by being predators in our communities while wearing blue. When people get elected and they're willing to do that as prosecutors, we need to stand up for them. It is our job as the citizens who are putting them in office, who need them to do the job, to be very vocal when it does not happen. So yeah, I said on Twitter today, same as I'm gonna say right now, I don't care if he did that or not. I don't. That was so mountain out of a molehill. I don't care if Jussie Smollett did that or not. And I don't trust the conviction because it seemed witnesses were bought, paid for, and coerced in order to get a specific end. And in the grand scheme of things, what I care more about is that when a prosecutor is trying to preserve resources, keep nonviolent offenders out of jail, and not waste our time, she's backed up. That the system respects her office and her decision making and backs that decision. She was supposed to be in charge. Y'all probably know the rest of what I wanted to say, but I won't. So that's that on that. You can follow Kim Fox at S.A. Kim Fox with 2 S's. So it's X's. It's SAKIM, F as in Frank, OXX on Twitter. Her official Twitter handle is S.A. Kim Fox. And yes, it was the Chicago Tribune. Her article in the Chicago Tribune, you can read there. Be informed. That's what we're giving you here. We need to make it make sense. And I can't make what that judge did yesterday make sense other than to say it is nonsense, and what is supposed to be making sense is the authority and the discretion of the prosecutor being respected, especially low-level mansy-pansy, Rudy-Poot cases like this should not have captured the national stage. The officials created that. He was their assist. And then they mad at him because they look like fools. Well, that's on you. That's all I have for today. As done. I see questions. I want to say, before anybody checks out, please support our work, support our broadcast at the link tree in the bio. My Cash App is MoPress, MoPress. and our business PayPal and our Patreon. All the links are in the link tree in the bio. What are your questions? So the special prosecutor wasn't supposed to start a new investigation. No, the special prosecutor was not supposed to start a new investigation. There shouldn't have been a special prosecutor. There was no special prosecutor necessary. Does Kim Foxx's initial decision to not prosecute the case fall under a violation of due process? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. So, answer to that one was no. Let me see. I answered that one. Yes, I hope so. Not sure. Haven't researched it, but it smells funny. Any good lawyer is going to pursue it. So, we'll see what happens. Let's see. I guess that's all. That looks like all the questions. All right. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you here again on Monday with some motivation and some inspiration and some juice to get us through the week. I see my god sister on here. Hi, love. And you be safe out there and think about these things, and please take action steps for all the shows this week. Each show this week wasn't just giving you information, but also giving you ways that you can take action. So please do. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me at Make It Make Sense. Bye-bye.